Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back to the basics. And before I introduce my guest, I want to remind everybody that this episode is brought to you by my friends over at Pocketjack Comics, who have books like Pass of the Golden Princess and White Lily. And you can find their books at pocketjackcomics.com, as well as they are being distributed by Philbo Distributions. And Phil Russell is a good friend of mine. So if you want your books printed or distributed, go take a look at what he's doing because he is providing an option that one of many are providing that I'm sure that we're going to get into that maybe in a little bit, not necessarily about him, but the whole landscape of comics in a little bit on that topic, because I'm always curious because I am just a spectator watching the house burn. But I digress because enough about that. I have with me comic creator Ed Davis. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Welcome back for me because it's been a while.
Well, I've been busy. Everybody's been busy.
I know I'm glad we made it work because I go back to work next week. So then my schedule gets very busy. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
No, I'm happy. Like life is busy. Things happen. A lot of stuff's going on. It's summer. You know what I find, and I don't know how you feel, is that nothing really works well going into August. I don't know how you feel about life, but nothing ever works well in August. But I digress right there because you have I guess a Kickstarter. I don't want to say a comic book because it's a hybrid because it's issue 12 of Immortal Era. And it's the graphic novel and the second volume of the graphic novel. Yes. So it's not, it's a comic book, but it's also a graphic novel. But we're going to get into that. But
a little bit of both.
Yeah, exactly. So before we get into that, why don't you introduce who you are? Because it's been a while. And let's get everybody up before we dive into the whole craziness that's going on in your story.
So I am Ed Davis. I'm the writer of the series Immortal Era, and this book is about a world where everyone's immortal, and we're on issue 12 now. So I've been writing this series since 2019, but the notes to the book go all the way back to 1998. So this is our halfway point. This marks the halfway point of the series, and a lot of wild stuff is going to go down. But I am the writer and the publisher of the series, and now 2 other series along with it. But this is my main one. This is the one that I work on, making sure I can get 2 new issues of it out every year so that we can keep it going and it doesn't take us 20 years to finish, but we'll always be faster than George Martin. That's all I can promise.
So let's get into this because obviously 12 issues. You said you're kind of at the halfway mark of the story. Never say never that there might be more, but as it sits at the moment, you're at the halfway mark. But what is the basic premise before we get into everything that's going on? The quick position of it, because you have technically people can catch up very quickly if you have 2 graphic novels out that gets everybody right where they need to be. But the quick version, please, because I want to get into it.
All right, so the quick version is it is a world 200 years in the future where a mysterious event made everyone immortal. But when they became immortal, they didn't get any kind of powers or abilities, so they still age, still get sick. There's a main character in the story who's just a head who has to keep living on. So it centers on a group of heroes who are out on a mission seeking relics, because assembling these relics will help them to restore the natural life cycle and save humanity by killing them.
Great. So let's get into pretty much what's happened from this point. Is that there's been a few circumstances. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Just some of the themes is classism, I think is a good way to put it. Obviously, living good, living bad, not aging is something. Figuring out how to live in a world where you can't die is something. And also the fact that, I think people are still being born, right? I think it's not like, everybody's isn't dying, but nobody's being born. People are still being born, and you have overpopulation, you have food issues, you got a lot of stuff going on here. But obviously this group of people at this point, they're assembling it and they're dealing with forces that don't want to die.
Yes,
they're dealing with forces that have a vested interest in the current system, and they're dealing with, I guess, magical entities. Might be a good way to put it. Like, I'm not exactly. I'm trying to be.
I like that. that keeps it spoiler free. But yeah, there is magic in the book where if you read issue 1, there's no kind of magic or anything like that. But by the time we get to issue 2, we see that there's supernatural forces in this whole mix of things, and that they, like you said, they want to keep immortality. They have an interest in it because they, unlike most of the world, have mastered immortality. They found a way to freeze the aging. They found a way to give themselves more power. So with that, they're fighting against our group of heroes because the group of heroes is trying to take away their greatest power, and that's the immortality.
So obviously a lot of stuff happens in issue 11. We get a showdown between, I guess, the surface police, and that's not a spoiler,
no,
who obviously are, I guess, the civic side of this. And because it's very much, I don't want to say it's the whole government that's the enemy, but parts of it are.
Yes,
I don't think the sanitation department is the problem here. Is where I'm going with this, but you have people who are very politically connected who are definitely wanting the immortality because it's their power, it's keeping them in position, and the police are in there, and you have a whole, I guess, the Matrix, for lack of a better word here, definitely doesn't want the system broken, and so they're dealing with the police, they're dealing with some magical entities, and I don't know if the magical entities are so on board even with the police force per se, because I think there's some differences why they want it, but you have that, and something kind of happens in issue 11 going into issue 12 where there's real consequences now for these actions. And I'm trying to keep it spoiler free for a reason because there's some stuff going on. And I think, not to ruin too much, but if the cover is any indication of a consequence, there is a consequence on these covers that hints at something. You just don't know what that consequence is.
Yes. And when you're talking about the police force and the magical entities, we do see they have a connection in issue 12. I addressed the fact that, yes, there is a direct connection between both sides. So yeah, the magical entities are kind of pulling the strings of everything. I mean, this world is really at least this city. We don't know the world at large. I addressed a little bit outside of this world when we were in issue 9. We kind of saw a little bit outside of that particular city, and then I did a side story for an anthology where we saw Japan, what was happening during all of this. So we've seen a little bit, but the particular city that's our main focus, it's under their control. They're running everything in it.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I'm a big Gundam guy, right? So Gundam has done something very interesting where they have created what is called an OVA, original video animation. And there's one called War in Pocket. It's 6 episodes, and it focuses on the war in the main Gundam, which is the 1-year war of a small little colony. And it's a very micro-focused 6 episodes, and you get the different version and a much more up-close feel to the war. They've done it with the 8th MS team in, kind of Vietnam, Southeast Asia area. That very focused downward, versus a much broader spectrum of Mobile Suit Gundam, which takes place over 8 months, and they are legitimately going from Colony A through South Africa to America and then beyond. And I think there is something to be said about really having a micro focus on just one little city, maybe they're not little city, but one territory, for lack of a better word here, because you could get real messy real quick if you start going to Japan, and because it's really irrelevant per se to the theme of the story, I guess. And I don't know how you feel about that, but like if you were making them travel all over the world, there would get a point where you got to almost rebuild the world every reissues.
Yes,
because Japan's not going to operate the same way as this is going to operate.
And the side story that I did in Japan, it was just a little 6-pager, and it was more to introduce a character who ends up in our city, so that we can see who this character, where this character came from when he rematerializes in the 3rd story arc. So it was kind of introducing one of our new villains, and you just get a little glimpse of Japan, but we don't spend a lot of time there. It's a 6-page story, but yeah, our characters then had to travel to Japan to seek out one of the relics there. It's so much where I kind of put everything into 3 territories. We've seen 2 of the 3 so far, and the third one will come in our last story arc, because that'll be where the last relic is, where they have to go. And that's it. We're going to focus and kind of live in those. But that's why you were saying maybe more after 24, because I would like to tell stories around the world where other things were going on. They might have other struggles and living. So there's a lot of side stories to tell and kind of play around with death mythology from around the world. Because I use that when I did the Japan one, I was using the Shinigami, which is that kind of their version of death. You know, we have the Grim Reaper, they would have a Shinigami. So I did that, and it'd be fun to kind of research all around the world and tell just little stories, but they wouldn't connect to the giant story overall, besides everyone's immortal.
So I want to dive into this a little bit more too, because obviously if you're at the halfway part, and I don't know, obviously we've been talking about your book for at least the better part of 3 years, on and off. And I think at one point you wanted to do like 50 issues, I think, which is crazy. And I'm not saying that, look, I'm never one to say no to ideas if you can pull it off. But there is a lot to do with 50 issues.
Yeah.
If you're releasing 4 a year, it's a long time.
Yes.
And it's complicated. And I don't know how you feel about stories, but there is. So, you know, I mean, I'm right now toying with an idea where I would love to do a 50-issue story arc, but I'm also much crazier than most people would do it, where I would drop 70 grand off the start into it, and I would get all 50 issues done. Meaning I would write it and I would just I would legitimately get the thing done in 5 years, and I release it every single month. I would do a Kickstarter every single month. It would be sick. But I have a different philosophy where, but you got to be real committed to do that. So I mean, I'm curious, like what changed with that, because 24 is perfectly fine. I mean, 50 is good too. 25 is a good number too. But like, what is that thought process? Because there's a lot going on with why somebody would, I guess, shift on where they want to end their story, if that makes any sense.
I think the shift came when I kind of looked at my notes for the rest of the series and thought, how many issues would it take to do this? And I mean, I wish I could release a Kickstarter every month, but running a Kickstarter, there's so much involved in it. I mean, you're constantly on and promoting, and to do that once a month with my normal day job just wouldn't work. So that's why I try to do summer. I do one when I have break times that can help with the timing that I need. So I looked at it and thought, okay, I can tell this story in 24, and then maybe it turns into 30 with some side stories, because I still have the backstory of the witches that I really want to tell. And it would be not the current, but like what happened. We know in this world that every 1,000 years, they've had the opportunity to bring immortality into the world. That means they failed a few times. I want to tell the story of how they failed in 1900. So that's a side story, but it doesn't need to be in the main one, where originally that was going to be just another backstory issue that we would put in there that would build toward the 30. But I thought these stories you can tell later, kind of like if you look at Sandman, the main story's over, but he still puts in side stories here and there. And you can still expand your story and expand your universe, but the main story arc is done. And the main storytelling for him was done in those 75 issues.
So let me ask you this, because obviously, I mean, I don't know how you feel about things, but there gets a point where a story's done, right?
Yeah.
And if you keep adding to it, you're going to detract from it. So sometimes you tell a story and then it's done, right? And it's perfect, right? But also there's the other thing where if you just made a lot of money, and you did 12 issues, and you just made $30 million, it's hard to do another 12 issues, right? To say no to that.
Yeah.
It's so there's that, but then also, and I don't know how you feel about this. Um, Comics has changed dramatically, I think, in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you. So obviously, I have a different opinion than everybody else because I buy and sell books, and I'm slowly leaving that sector because that sector has become more and more and more difficult.
Yeah.
Just on pricing, collecting, return of money. 3 years ago, I was buying books for $20 and flipping them for 80 all day. And now I can't sell those $20 books for $10.
Yeah, you're losing.
So it's not, they're just immovable. And it sucks, right? Because and that's a 3-year position. And I don't even know what it's going to look like in 10 years. And I have a theory why, but we don't have to get into the theory so much. But the idea is that I even think distribution has changed. I think there's so much product out there that, and I even think Kickstarter has changed, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I think it's so complicated, right? And I think there's just so much more media to consume. And I think media costs, and there's so much more free media to consume, that getting somebody to pay for something is so hard now. In which I can go on an app and I can read a manga chapter of the same manga that's in Barnes and Noble, and I can read one a day for free. No ads, no anything, and there's just so much more free stuff out there, or stuff that's pretty cheaply. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know if that also impacted it too, where it's a brutal grind, and this stuff is only getting more expensive. Printing is more expensive, art is more expensive, shipping is more expensive. I'm sure I'm missing 20 things that you could probably name that are more expensive, right?
But everything's gone up to a point, and what hasn't gone up is what you're pulling on your Kickstarter. You're still getting kind of what you got when, I usually make my goals 3,000, and that, when I first started, would cover the art and the printing. Now it's more going to get you the printing and the shipping, and you get your art at the cons and things like that. But yeah, everything's gone up. What used to ship for $3 is now close to $6. So everything's basically doubling, except it's not like, okay, well, now I can put double as my goal for the Kickstarter, because I try to keep my prices down. My goal is to not have one of those books where you go on Kickstarter and you got to pay $20 to $25 for a single floppy. I don't want to have that kind of thing where I put my floppy 16, but that's with the shipping. So really it's 10, and you pay more on a Kickstarter than you would if you found me at a con, because Kickstarter has fees. So you got to put that as a factor in there.
It's interesting, right? And I'm going to ask you this. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I am sick and tired of getting bent over, is a good way to put it, on everything. We look at it with cards. We look at it with a lot of stuff. I am sick and tired of being bent over, right? And by the way, this is not just this. It's Netflix, it's anime cons, it's Comic Cons. It is getting brutally expensive. I mean, last 3, I'll say the quiet part aloud. I remember when tickets were $60 5 years ago, right? Even 3 years ago. Now it's like $100 for a 3-day pass to go to a con. And I'm like, that's a lot of money. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, when I was working, I don't make $100 in an hour.
No,
I mean, I do all right. I'm middle America, middle class America is my salary, but it's not $100 an hour.
No,
and there gets a point where I'm just like, there's only so much I can take economically. And so I think that's a big issue too. Is that and there's only so much you could ask from your customers, right?
Yeah.
You can't keep raising the price on your customer because your prices go up, and it becomes a whole massive balancing act that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, this is the issue I'm having in my business right now, where just to speak, shipping has gone up. Now, granted, I remember when shipping was 64 cents to send out a card. It went up to 69 cents. Then it went up to 74 cents, and now it's 78 cents. But I can't charge any more for the shipping and for the card, and it's more competitive. And so on a $7 card, that extra 4 cents is almost like 2 basis points.
Yeah.
So my margin goes down from 30% to 25%.
Mm-hmm.
And it might not seem like a big deal, but times that by 1,000 cards, that extra 4 cents adds up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean I don't know how people deal with this, because it's a concern I have, right,
Mm-hmm.
on all of this.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what makes it difficult. And the economy being what it is, people don't have the spare money to even put down, and everything's gone up. So you're trying to charge them more, and they have less to even spend. So it's an interesting world trying to navigate it right now, and everything swings. We'll get a positive swing. How many years from now that will be, but there was a point where my Kickstarters and everyone's Kickstarters were just blowing up and thriving, and with minimal effort, you could do double what you would do now. So it's everything moves, and we'll move back to that way, and hope that the cost of everything hasn't gone up so high that it's all just moot and it doesn't matter.
So this is my take on it. I think August is a hard month. July and August are hard months in general in my business, and I don't know about Kickstarter business, and I've heard a bunch of people say, it's tricky, right? You could launch really anytime and do well, and people have done all of that.
Yeah.
But I personally think that July and August are hard, right? And I have a theory why, because in the middle of August, it's too damn hot to deal with life, right?
You just want to curl up in some AC.
It also, people tend to go on vacation. Also, yes. What I've learned is that, and I don't know your job situation, but typically people are gearing up to hire, starting late August into September. So that happens. So, and everybody's coming back into the office, because in my job, my boss is off the first week of August. I take off the second week. His boss takes off the third week. So nothing major on a production level. The job still moves and projects still move, but no major decisions happen, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then that trickles into other stuff. So like, I'm not making a major economic decision in August ever. Yeah. Like, I would never buy a house in August. It just doesn't happen, right? Because there's no good reason to. Because I'd rather do it in September when it's business as usual and there's less obstacles and there's less holidays, right? So that's also the thing too, is that we're heading into that. But I also have a theory where when the economy and the stock market isn't as volatile, people feel a lot more comfortable when there's more predictability.
True.
And if you've watched semiconductors and that whole thing, it goes up by 20% one day, it goes down by 15 the next day, it goes up by 7%, and it's a roller coaster. And if you have enough money in that stuff, and you're calm as a cucumber, you're doing all right. But if you have $1 million in some semiconductor ETFs or index funds or mutual funds, you could be losing $200,000 a day.
You're
and making
$200,000
a day. And I don't have that much money, but I have enough money that I have a $6,000 swing here and there.
Yeah.
And I have 4 of them in a week.
Oh, wow.
And it's crazy. It's insane. So that's also the problem too, is that, and that also look at the S&P, and I think people are very much terrified, but that's my theory. But I don't want to give financial advice to anybody. If you want my financial advice, I am not a certified financial expert. I can only give recommendations. You should not take my recommendations beyond just a friendly banter suggestion. But as I always stated, buy. Buy low, sell high. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, I want to get into your book though, because further into it, because you're doing issue 12, floppy, with the graphic novel, and that's interesting, because, not to put my other friends on blast here, and we're not going to name people, but they do it separate. And I think it's interesting because I'll tell you why I think it's interesting is that I think it's fascinating because I think it's saving time and money because
Mhm.
I think it saves you from having to do another campaign.
Mhm.
And I think on a printing level, and feel free to tell me to be quiet or correct me or disagree with me at any point, but I think printing a floppy and printing a graphic novel at the same time, I don't. I think you can use the same printer. I think
Yes.
you're not necessarily saving money, but you might be saving money, but you're saving time. You're also
Yeah.
getting the product done. You're
Mhm.
also funding it, and I don't think you're saving all that much money by doing them separately. I don't think you are in reality.
I
Um,
don't
it,
know how much you would save. I know for me, it'll save on shipping because you ship them all at once instead of two separate shipping orders. So that's one of the places you
my
save. And
my my my
sometimes
my
the
my
bulk will get you two.
estimation my estimation is that you might be saving $500
Mhm.
overall if you did them separately, and not even on shipping or any of that. But I don't know if the funding is going to be different. I don't know if the cost is going to be different. I don't think you would make the. I mean, we don't know if you would make more or less money if you separated the two. But
Yeah.
you also are getting the product, and you're getting a graphic novel and the floppies at the exact same time, which means you
Mhm.
have double the product for conventions or for
Mhm.
a web store or for whatever else because
Yeah.
there's life after Kickstarter and it's
Mhm.
speed, right? And I think this is a very interesting position, right? Because that's why I say I don't think I think this thing's not costing you much more money to do it combined. I think you would. I think you would save money and maybe raise a little bit more money if you did them separate, but we're talking $500, I think, at
Yeah.
most. Which is if $500 is the problem for speed, you're trading apples for oranges, is what you're
Yeah.
doing. So,
Yeah.
but
Very true.
I think it's interesting, right? Because I think I think it proves a point where there's life after Kickstarter.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, a lot of what I look at is what you don't make on Kickstarter, that's where your hustle and you going out in the world, you make that back because those people there's plenty of my regulars that I see at multiple cons and they're waiting for that new trade, but they want nothing to do with Kickstarter. They're not here to go back a campaign. They know they'll see me at one of the shows and they'll go buy it there. And then the floppy collector is the same. But for this one, knowing that by the time you're at going to issue 12, most people aren't going to buy 12 floppies up. So I'm going to print very small numbers. So for the prospectors that are thinking maybe this will be worth something, well, this is going to be a very small print run on the floppies because most people will buy the trades. It's the cheaper way to get the full story.
Because it's interesting, right? Because the floppy has a different audience
Mm-hmm.
than the graphic novel, right?
Yeah.
So if I
Yes.
just want to read your book and the whole floppy, the whole graphic novels out there, and I just want to read it, and I don't really care about collecting or value proposition or spectating, or I'm not a long box guy, but I'm a comics guy, right? Because
Yeah.
I think there's that, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
also a manga thing, right? Manga's collected into 10 chapters, right?
Yeah.
I have a manga collection. I mean, some of those books are worth money, apparently.
Mm.
Um, like a good condition One Piece, first one in the foils worth like 60
Mm.
bucks.
Okay.
It's got a nice appreciation to it.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, we're talking like a book that's 20 years old in good condition.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, that stuff's not worth much money. But I like looking at it and I want to read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's so interesting because I don't know how you feel, but because when you have a graphic novel on your table, I feel it's something different than when you have a floppy on your table.
Yes. Oh, you get different eyes. You get people who don't want to waste time with floppies and they will always buy a graphic novel. And it's interesting too, because I think it shows commitment to what you're doing. If you're sitting out there with 2 volumes of your book, they know you're not just going to fold up and not finish the story for them.
Do you think that's a real fear in
I think
comics?
I think there are people who just don't want to invest if someone says, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a 24 issue series," and they have one issue out, maybe two, and you look at the dates on those 2 issues, and one is like 2019 and the other one is 2024, and you tell them it's going to be 24 issues, they don't want to wait that long. And I've seen people that would kind of get scared, but when you see, okay, this one is, December and now June, yeah, I'm not giving you Marvel speed, but you can see that it's not going to be an infinite wait to get it all done.
So because again, I mean, I don't know how you feel about life, but I like to just consume content in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Netflix model.
Yeah,
I'm not opposed to episodic TV. I don't have a problem with that, but I definitely like to sit down and watch 6 episodes of a show in a row. And the way I consume anime is that way. So I watch the fall season in winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's done.
Yeah.
I don't have to. I could just sit down on my Saturday, Sunday, and chill out in my bed, and I just watch a 12-episode series in 2 days.
Wow.
And I just binge it, right? Now, I mean, we're talking 6 hours. It's not like...
Yeah, that's not that much.
But like I've watched 50-episode series in like 3 weeks, right? To a night. But like I want to watch the whole thing at once. I don't want to spend a year every Saturday watching it. It doesn't do it for me. I'm at a point in my life where I want to binge everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind committing. I'm not saying I'm going to go watch like all 50 episodes of a show in one day. That's not what I'm saying. But like that's how I feel about a graphic novel. I want to sit down and read your book in one sitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to spend 2 hours reading your graphic novel. I don't want to. Like, in 6 months from now, I'll pick up issue 2, right? Like, and I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that.
Yeah.
And I understand you're not Marvel, right? I'm not expecting you to pump out, but it is hard for me if it's every 6 months because, like, you lose me somewhere in the shuffle because there's so much going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, that's why the trades, that's why people will go, okay, I'm just going to wait it out. Even if it's 2 years, 3 years of waiting, I'll wait for the trade, and then they'll just reread volume 1, go through volume 2, and buy another book in a couple of years.
And then to go further into that too, I mean, with the trade, you have a hardcover and a soft cover.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the soft cover is probably going to be printed as much as you want it to be printed, but I think the hardcover definitely is more limited. And I think that's also what Kickstarter is good for in many ways, is that those super limited products.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like super limited products.
Yes.
I like when somebody does a book and they say there's only 1,000 printed of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Kickstarter exclusive. And, if I have 100 left over, that's great. But once those 1,000 are sold out, because that's the other thing too, is that, and I don't value a hardcover book that's limited to 100 to necessarily go up or down in value, but it's the idea that people want cool stuff in their collection on their bookshelves.
Yeah. And it looks good on a bookshelf. Hardcovers look better on a bookshelf than soft covers. And then, you have the limited factor. And you look at a lot of graphic novels that are limited. They don't appreciate that much, but they're always something you can have. And I'm a hardcover collector. If I love a series, I'll spend the extra money to have that hardcover in hand. So I'm kind of giving people something like that where you also put extra things in it. So if you really care about seeing every cover that came out for this particular story arc, the hardcover is going to be your way to do it, because that's where you're going to get, a cover gallery, and you're going to get special features. And if you buy the soft cover, that's just the bare bones. You're getting the story. And if that's what you care about, you just want to read it, that's your way to go. But I give something more interesting, so you have a lot more to flip through and enjoy.
Yeah. No. I get it. I get it completely. And then obviously, I mean, I want to dive into Kickstarter because other stuff with Kickstarter is going on. Obviously, it's a war out there. We touched on it a little bit, and I want to circle back to it, is that I, right now, am in a weird position on eBay where I have high sales and low sales at the exact same time. And it's crazy, right? So I have high-end, high-intensity, heavy sales, and then I have disasters, right? And and high sale cards are complicated, low sale cards are complicated, and a lot of
Yeah.
stuff is going on. I also understand that it's Tuesday, and I understand that not everybody can go spend $350 on a Caitlin Clark at the moment. Just because
Yeah.
she's the first player to score 40 points and 10 assists in a game, and but I digress right there. It's a good card. It'll sell eventually. Just want
Oh
to
yeah.
cut
It's
down
not going.
business.
It'll be
What?
fine. I said that one will be fine. Eventually, someone will snatch that up.
It's whatever. Me and another person have 1/3 of the market collectively. So we're all aligned in the same price range. She's a different beast.
Yeah.
But not the point here. But Kickstarter right now, in my opinion, is that there's so much product on Kickstarter, on comics. There is so much uncertainty with Kickstarter on what are the rules to do anything and everything, right? I don't know what's allowed and what isn't, right? And there's different rules for different people on Kickstarter. Let's not pretend here. If you're making, because I'll ask this question off the bat: who is Kickstarter's client? Is it me, the person who's backing your book, or is it you, the creator?
I mean, it's probably the creator because they're the ones that are going to get the money brought to the person. So, yeah, the one who's going to have $100 goal and make 200, they're going to give them a lot less love or leeway from someone who's going to be 200,000 because that's a lot of money Kickstarter is going to get off of that campaign.
The point I'm making is that this is where Kickstarter differs than eBay, and I wish Kickstarter would actually change their policy. I don't know how they would do it. Is that it should be that eBay, it's the buyer and the seller are both the customer to eBay.
Yeah.
So when that happens, there's protections for the seller, there's protections for the buyer. And so both of these people on Kickstarter, I am not Kickstarter's client.
Yeah.
I am not Kickstarter's client. That's what it is. I am your client if I back your book.
Yeah, and you have to hope I'll give it to you because they give you that warning when you're backing that there's no guarantee you're going to get the book.
Which is eventually going to be challenged. And Kickstarter will probably lose that fight, and they're going to lose that fight badly.
I've been burned a couple times by campaigns that didn't fulfill, and nothing came back. So Kickstarter needs to fix that.
Here's how Kickstarter loses that fight. And I'm not a lawyer, but this is my guess, is that they facilitate, right? So they facilitate on Stripe and using credit card processors, and they manage the platform and they approve the project. So I don't think Kickstarter will have full responsibility, but I believe, and there's been criminal cases that have dealt with this, where a facilitator does have to take responsibility. I think it is coming. And I think it's going to come in the next 5 years. It's coming. And if you don't think it is, and not to put anybody in a bad situation here, but it's coming, and I want it to come, not because I want creators to bear the burden of it, but I want the protections on it, because I want protections for both creators and for buyers.
Yes.
Because that's how I feel, right? Is that I want those protections in place so that it's a safer place. But it's so complicated. And again, I think you nailed it perfectly, is that if you're making $200,000 for Kickstarter, you're going to get away with a lot more, because they're, what is that, 26,000 for them?
Yeah.
Just about. So if I make somebody $26,000, so I hate to say, so I'll say the quiet part aloud. I have clients who do a lot of business with me. They're probably going to get a better deal with some of my higher end merchandise than somebody who's a first time buyer.
Yeah.
Because if you bought $10,000 worth of cards from me, chances are, and you're buying 30 cards from me at a very high valuation, I'm probably going to give you a bit of a discount because you're buying so much in volume. Which would make sense, right?
Yeah.
If you buy only one, I can't really give you a discount because you're only buying one. If you buy 5, I can give you a bit of a discount, but but that makes sense because you're buying more.
Yeah.
But the point is that, I think that's coming. But I am curious, though, getting back to the Kickstarter stuff, is that there's issues of getting attention. There's so much more product. I think the environment is tougher. There's less money in the economy. And I think the other thing that nobody's speaking about is that it is very much pay to play. Where if you're not running ads, and I'm not saying everybody's running ads, but if you're not running ads, it is a struggle. I don't know how many campaigns you've seen that have done 100,000, and you look at this and you're like, this book is average.
Yeah.
But they're running ads, and I don't even know how they're running ads because I have an idea how much it costs, and I'm like, yeah, I see your stuff all the time, and it confuses me. But I think there's some. It's complicated. Not everybody's doing it, but it's a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm. That is true, and you see them on YouTube. Like, all right, how are they running ads for a comic book on YouTube? So they got to be paying a lot. So it's
the Instagram, it's the Facebook,
mm-hmm.
And then you have big players in this, right? And I mean, you have real big players now doing this and spending a lot of money on ad stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not saying so. I'll put it this way, right? If Skybound does G.I. Joe, the anthology, they're not taking money away from Immortal Era by definition.
No,
at least not directly. Not directly, but they are taking money. They're not taking it away from you directly. But if there's 20 products and you're number 21, somebody can only pick one or two of them collectively. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the fact that you can't buy everything. So somebody can watch this interview, or they can watch a cute cat video. Mm-hmm. That cat video isn't taking away from the interview per se, but if somebody wants to spend 30 minutes watching cute cat videos and maybe sipping their whiskey and not listen to a sophisticated interview, which hopefully this is, the point is that cat video is not my competition, but it is at the same time.
It is and it isn't.
The NFL is a competitor to me by definition. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a direct competitor, but it's just an option that somebody can spend their time with. Yeah. Is the point I'm making. And it's the same thing with every book on Kickstarter. And so if you saturate a market with 50 ads, so say, I'll buy the fucking thing so I don't see the ad anymore. Like,
yeah, leave me alone.
So
yeah, I've fallen into that. Yeah, I just keep seeing the ads on Facebook, and eventually I go and buy it. Like the DuckTales anthology, it's gonna get me because I'm like, all right, I had a little bit of interest, and now the one time you click in the campaign, that's all you see is that ad. So yeah, it does its job, and I wish I could run ads on Kickstarter, but on Facebook. But I have a whole issue with when my account got taken over, and the person who took it over was running multiple ads, which I had one I paid for, but I got it reversed by the credit card. But then they ran 5 or 6 more ads. And when I go to Facebook and I try to run an ad, which I would have for all of these last campaigns that I've done, I would have run ads, and it says your account's delinquent and you owe us, I think they say I owe like $480. And to get a human to actually respond to your inquiry, it's an impossibility. I've sent multiple messages, but you're sending them to just kind of some sort of a bot. It's not seen by any people. And I keep trying to say, I want to run ads. I'll give you my damn money. Just allow me to do it without paying $480 for jegging ads I didn't run. So I have that. And I know a lot of people who got taken over in that thing as well. They were all business accounts, and they're all in the same boat that I am. They can't run ads. They're blocked because of, having their Facebook's inability to protect their people. And now I can't run ads. And would it have made a huge difference? I don't know, but I'm thinking it would have been at least a few $100 swing. So, but is it $480? Probably not. And I can't pay that and, eat that money essentially.
This is where I'm at. So I forget the guy. It wasn't my idea. He's a car guy, and what he said is that on eBay you could boost your items up, right? and then they get an advertising fee on top of their fee. And
Yeah.
depending on what it is, if you sell $1 million item, it's not necessarily bad if it moves the item, perfectly
Yeah.
fine, right? But what he said is that if you can't sell items without running ads, and you can't sell on eBay without boosting your item and paying that fee, you're just renting traffic. So you have to figure out ways how to move items, on eBay without paying for the boost, right?
Yeah.
There's a time and place to do it. So, ideally, I don't pay for boosts on eBay for my items. I buy good, clean items. I mean,
Yeah.
I just bought a Grail card. I bought 3 of them, to be honest. I got fucking lucky with that one. That's Sophie Cunningham. Can't wait for that card. It's a beautiful card. I mean, there's 10 of them in the world. I mean,
Oh,
I had
wow.
3 of them. Oh, it's her first Panini Instant Auto. Oh, just whether you love her or hate her, that card, I probably undersold it, but I bought 3. The 2 paid for the 3, and then I made a $200 profit on the whole thing too on top of it. So thank God, right?
Yeah.
But I'm lucky that I got it is the point. But the card sold itself. The image sold it. But like that's so I think it's a fair discussion is that if you can't sell your book without ads, or even bring in another 30,000 without ads, I mean, you're just renting traffic. Now, there's nothing wrong with renting traffic. There's a time and place for it, but there also is a position saying you got to know how to sell your book without it.
Yeah.
And I have real questions on this. I got real questions on a lot of this stuff. Can they sell their product without ads?
Yeah.
Or is it profitable if they didn't have it? And then I have other questions. Is that do they even care if they lose money, or do they want the cred so that when they take it elsewhere, they get the social media cred for it, which then sells the book on the secondary position of it, which is a whole different discussion on this. But I digress right there. I think these are all valid questions, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have the answer, and I don't think these are questions anymore necessarily pertaining to comics because it's a card problem. It's a collective marketing problem. And I'll ask you this question because I'm always curious. I don't know how you feel about your Kickstarter and your comic. How much is comics and how much is marketing and how much is the back end? Because I could tell you on this podcast, it's 30% interviewing and it's 70% back office.
Yeah.
And I like the back office. I enjoy the back office. I would rather manage somebody's podcast and do all the booking and all the editing and all of the social media aspects. And I enjoy that actually a lot more. I mean, I enjoy interviewing, don't get me wrong, because when you get to speak to cool people, and particularly people who you grew up watching in the wrestling world, oh man, it's wonderful, right? I mean, it's such a pleasure when you get to speak to really cool people. But at the same time, nothing against anybody in particular, but the back office stuff is way more interesting when you're looking at analytics. But it's 30-70. It is not 70% interviewing. The other 70% is insane. But I don't know how you feel about comics because I look at it and I don't know how much is creation anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the creation's just it's such a small part of everything. I mean, you have to have a good book or no one's going to buy it. But the creation, and then it's just marketing and coming on shows and trying to promote, let people know that it exists and getting new eyes, I think is the hardest thing because you're in your bubble. You have your Facebook followers, you have your Instagram followers, and getting more. For me, that's the part I enjoy. It's getting out from behind the screen, going to the cons, and that's where you lock in those new readers and build your audience because them finding you through, weeding through all of the algorithms on social media, it's harder and harder for them to even discover you exist.
Do you think that I don't know how you feel, but I've noticed there's tribalism in comics. There's tribalism and there's cultism. And I purposely removed myself from a lot of people because I thought they were a cult. And I say that a little bit jokingly, but also very much truly. Where there are people who I think are a cult in comics. And I have no problem. Again, it's not hyperbole. And I believe people will fall into the brink and to the edge of the cliff. And I actually think it's stifling growth. I think it's stifling growth. And I'm not going to name creators, but I know at least 30 people who I think if they left the cult of certain people and certain environments, their books would exceed by double, if not triple.
Wow.
And out of it. And I feel that their leader, for lack of a better word, is holding them back. And is stifling growth because there is, oh, you can't speak to this person, you can't approach that person, you can't do this. Oh, I'm terrified to oppose, right?
Wow.
And get outside, and you got to kiss the ring, for lack of a better word. And this sounds all Matrix oriented. I think it's a real problem, and I'm looking into the castle, seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is that I'm on the outside, and I've noticed it, right? It's not just, it's less in wrestling, it's less in cosplay. It's like that in many ways. In voice acting, not so much. In wrestling, there's no cult. There's no cult. It's very rare there's a cult in that, but in comics there's tribalism and cultism, and I think it stifles growth and readership, and I think it actually is hurt, because getting outside the box, you need to grow. You can't grow in the box. There's not enough oxygen in the box to grow. And there's issues of pride. The great philosopher John Cena said, "No opportunity is beneath me." He was in the Barbie movie as a merman.
Yeah.
He was in the Barbie movie as a merman.
And he's about to be in the Matchbox movie, so yeah, he's
but that makes sense. He's a car guy. See, that's not beneath him. That's an upgrade.
Better than the
Mermaid.
Mermaid.
It's too easy. It's too easy. If in case anybody didn't know, I'm a huge John Cena fan. But the point I'm making is that when you're in the Barbie movie, and he basically had no opportunities beneath me. But I digress. On that point, before I'm gonna get us all in trouble. I have no problem getting us all in trouble here. And then I want to ask you some other stuff about printing, because I don't know what's going on with Comics Wellsprings. I'm curious what you think, because I know nothing about this. I know that kind of went under. I know it's not good. I know printing. I don't understand printing. This is like the least thing I know in comics. And I just know they went under. I know that I don't even know what the hell happened. I just know that a lot of people use them.
Yeah, that's who I was going to print through. I've done almost every issue of Immortal Era was through them. I think I did 2 at Print Ninja when Print Ninja was getting really competitive with their prices, and they're no longer competitive. So I was printing with Comics Wellspring a lot. I had planned on using them for this new book, this trade, and then got that email that we're no longer taking orders, we're refunding all the old ones. So it's putting me into a scramble. And I was at San Diego Comic-Con last week and looking at people's books saying, hey, what did you print through? The normal things that people have done at my table a lot, like, oh, who printed your book? This looks nice. So I was doing that with a few other creators and found a few options that look pretty good. So I know for my foil, I'll use Ready Comics from Phoenix, because the printer I'm looking at to do my floppies is they don't do foil. But I don't want to give anyone an endorsement until I've used them and see what the quality is. So it's like if I say the name, people say, hey, I'm going to go check them out. I don't know. Once I have a book in hand, then I'll be happy to, sing their name to the internet, because I'll know they're good. I mean, if they stink, then let people know the other way.
The only thing that I printed was metal cards. And I printed a bunch of them. I used my Kickstarter that I did a while ago. For a variety of reasons, and I was smart enough with my Kickstarter that I now throw all that stuff into a bunch of good orders and stuff. And I might go in. I use Fairy Metal, and I might go in print business metal cards. You should hand those out at a card. Nobody throws out a metal card.
True. I like that.
It's so smart. And what you do is that you print a bunch of them, right? So the more you print, right, the cheaper it becomes.
Yes.
So it makes complete sense, and you put all your information on it, all your socials. So it's a no-brainer, right? So I would print 1,000 of them, It would go down. It cost me like 65 cents a card. I mean, a business card is going to cost you like 15 cents.
Yeah.
On 1,000, and then maybe even less on 1,000, but not the point. I would spend $300 essentially, print 1,000 of them, give or take. And now nobody throws out your metal card. Just hand out a metal card. You got your email on that. He could hit you up. So, love to interview. If you're interested, here you go. Nobody throws out a metal card.
Yeah, that's very true.
And you just hand them out. Just be like, here's this. And like you host a panel, you got 300 people. You just say, here's my metal card stack, guys. This is all. Just pass it around. Oh, it's great. It's brilliant because I want people to have my items because this way they're going to look at it most likely. It's point of sale, but you know, I was just curious what you thought about that. But I don't know anything about printing. I may or may not do a book. I don't know at some point. But again, I'm not there yet. And then I'm curious how San Diego, because San Diego scares me.
Yeah, it's huge. I wasn't there. I didn't have a table. I spoke on a panel on Friday and then just kind of went around networking, made a few really good connections. So I've been looking for one particular artist to do a cover for me. And I mean, I've 3 years in a row, I've got kind of the blow off. And this year got his actual business card with his real email, not told, oh, go through my Instagram or message me on Facebook or all those things. It was a legitimate connection with a real email and phone number. So I feel like that's going to happen. And then I have a possible good connection for another con that's coming up. So I made some good networking connections. And even if you're not at a table, you can walk away with some big victories. And that's kind of where I'm at for this, but nothing I'm going to disclose yet, but there's some good potential things for the future.
That's good. That's good. I just cold email. That's how I do everything. I legitimately am just stupid enough to be like, would love to interview you. Here's what I got. And then I just ask. I just keep asking people until they say yes.
Smart.
And my theory is that my objective is to get a no as quickly as humanly possible. I was speaking to somebody in PR, more in the adult sector, and the person was asking me 30 questions. And I said, look, this isn't going to work. Yeah. If your client doesn't want to do this, that's fine. I'm not interested in going through you for 6 hours because that's 5 hours too many.
Yeah, you're wasting my time here.
I understand that you're trying, and I just said, thank you for your time. And that was the end of it. And then I just moved on.
Yeah.
And I hate the phrase, when you have more followers, contact me. And I said, by the time I have more followers, that's the worst thing you could say to me.
Ouch.
Because the second the second I hear that, I say, great, I'm gonna get those followers. I'm gonna send you a bill for my fucking time.
Yeah.
But I digress here, in which that, because the point is that I want people to want to grow with me, not come and use my system that I've built.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying I have 935 subscribers on YouTube, right? There are people who have been there when I had 5.
Yeah.
And when I have 1,000, when I have 20, 2,000, 3,000, I want people to be to understand, okay, cool, there's growth here, and I'm coming into a growth system. I'm not coming into something that's already established, which benefits only me. But I digress. And then I want to talk about another thing that doesn't have to do with your book per se, but I'm curious what you feel on it, if you know anything about it. And if you don't, that's fine. How do you feel about Skybound trying to raise money and offering shares? Have you seen those ads?
Okay, I didn't know. I see them running ads for different Kickstarters and things like that. So what's the share thing? I wasn't even aware of that one.
Skybound is offering equity.
Okay.
Through either Start Engine or one of these things, and I think it's $1,000 minimum investment. If you do $1,000, you get an additional 5% shares. And I don't know, in which that I don't have a problem with equity seed rounds, but we've seen it with like M something, like M Entertainment that Stan Lee was a part of. We've seen it with Tokyo Pop. We've seen it with a bunch of companies. But it's weird to me that they would be raising money on this, and that they're saying, well, you know, Marvel was sold to Disney for $4 billion, and now it's worth $54 billion. And I don't know how you feel as a comic person, because Skybound is obviously a toy company. It's a comic company. You know, they do media with Amazon for Invincible,
Yeah.
but it's weird for me because I'm an investor, right?
Hmm.
And I look at this and I'm like, there's no guarantees, and you wouldn't need you if you have all these deals. Why are you raising money, right? And,
Yeah.
and it confuses me, and I don't think I don't know in which my viewpoint is skewed
Yeah.
versus, because I'm not in the industry, but I'm a part of it from just collecting and buying and selling and just
Yeah.
interviewing, right? But I'm not a creator,
Hmm.
you know. But I was just curious if you knew, and then you had an opinion on it, because
No, I know that LA Comic Con is doing that. When I was doing it last year, they had signs everywhere like invest in LA Comic Con and be kind of a stockholder in that, which it doesn't give me a good feeling when someone like LA Comic Con does it, because you'd never see San Diego doing that. You'd never see New York or Emerald City begging for people to come and invest into them. So it makes me feel like it's a limping con, and it's not. You can't blame the city. LA Anime Con is one of the biggest things in the universe. It sells out instantly. If you go there, it's a walking sardine can, and it's in the same center. So you're talking the same exact convention center, and LA Comic Con is out saying, "Oh, invest in us, become a lifelong investor in our stocks and this." And it makes me feel uncertain about wanting to do that con, because if they can't sustain it on their own, I'm not feeling good. So with Skybound, it makes me think you're obviously missing something, because you wouldn't be asking us for this if you had it on your own.
yeah, it's odd. It's odd. And I don't know if it's the canary in the coal mine, or
Yeah.
because it doesn't give me a good feel about the industry.
No, not at all.
Um, I'm not saying that Marvel and DC are in problematic territory, which I mean DC Comics is going to be fascinating. Just so everybody's aware, supposedly Paramount's going to close on Warner Brothers September.
Oh.
If I think of this year, I think,
Mm.
and if that doesn't close, for those who don't know, if you own Warner Brothers Discovery stock and that gets delayed every month, you get a quarter
Oh.
as a holder fee. So if you have a lot of shares, and let's say you have 20,000 shares and it takes another 90 days, you get 75 cents per share
Wow. Yeah,
as a holder fee.
that's huge if you have a lot of shares. If you got two
It,
shares, it's nothing. If you
if it
have
doesn't close
two
and they
twenty
need more.
thousand, wow. I didn't know about that.
So plus you get I mean, if it closes, you get bought out completely.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and if you bought in low for when it was like $6 and they buy
Yeah.
you out for $32, it's a good exit, right?
Mhm.
Um, but the point is that's a real interesting situation with that. But nobody knows what's going to happen with DC Comics because
No.
it's a Warner Brothers asset.
Yeah.
Um, Paramount wants parts of it; they don't want the whole thing.
Mm.
Um, what they want is they want the animation, they want the character rights to make movies. They don't want the comics.
Oh, okay. So where's that gonna leave them?
Because it raises the question: is that what is the IP worth? What is the comic worth?
Yeah.
And what do you generate off of the? Because Absolute Batman, you needed the comic to make a film of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it is the comic really the thing, or is it tested in it and you created the IP
Yeah.
of Absolute Batman that now you can make an animated series that Mappa wants to do, which is a big anime company.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it's so huge. It would be gigantic, because the Absolute Batman is just the hottest thing going.
Think the company that did Attack on Titan, right? That's Mappa.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, so it
Absolute
would be,
Batman
yeah.
done in that style and in that quality of Attack
Yeah.
on Titan on Netflix
Ooh, yeah.
or Paramount Plus,
I
whatever it
guess, yeah,
is.
it'd probably be Paramount Plus, because
It,
HBO Max, I would imagine, will die,
it
or at
might
least
be it
change
might be
into
on
something else.
Netflix. It might be on Netflix where Paramount might give it to Netflix because they'll just basically they will get a fee out of it, and
Mhm.
Netflix might foot the bill because
Mm.
all of these like NBC, Universal does a lot of production for Netflix.
Okay.
Paramount, Disney does some production for Netflix too, and
Mhm.
all these companies do stuff for each other
Yeah.
because they don't care because they're making money. You can't put everything on Paramount Plus.
Mhm.
You just can't.
Yeah.
But it raises a question, right?
Mhm.
About that. But again, I don't know anything about anything.
No,
I
I'm
have my theories on all of this. I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. Um, I think Paramount is going to retain the character rights, and I think they're going to sell DC Comics off.
mm.
And I think DC Comics is going to be an independent component. I think it's going to be an IP producer, and then I think there's going to be essentially an agreement that if they make like an anime film out of something, or they make a
Mhm.
film out of something off of something like Absolute Batman, that the private company gets a piece of it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Which I would love to buy DC Comics.
Mhm.
Under that arrangement, oh my god, I would become a whore, and I would
Hmm.
produce so much stuff. It would be sick. I would throw every idea purposely to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would whore out DC Comics.
Hmm.
I would make them walk the streets. Oh, it'd be terrible. It would be terrible.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. It's too easy. It's just too easy. Yeah, I know exactly selling that company to me. Oh my god. I know exactly what I would pay for DC Comics too.
Hmm.
For that arrangement, I'd pay 10 bill for
Mm.
that, hands down.
Someone will, you know that.
Yeah, under the pretense that I'm just gonna whore out DC Comics, absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. Oh my god, it'd be terrible. Just terrible. What I would do to that company would be just so bad. But I would
Hmm.
make so much money that I would make so much money that I would buy a stadium and name it DC Comics Stadium.
Ha. Someone
It'd be,
would.
it'd be,
Why
it'd be
not?
so. What were you gonna say?
I said someone will do that. You know, if it's bought that way, you can see that. That'd be actually you could do a cool themed football team from that. I'm actually here for that.
Or the Supermans. Do you have
Mhm.
Superman Stadium? So you rename
Yeah.
MetLife Stadium to Superman Stadium? Oh, it'd be great. It'd be great. It'd be so we're playing at Superman Stadium today. The New York
Huh.
Giants are playing the Jets at Superman Stadium. Oh, the announcers have to say it while they're on ESPN, owned by Disney. Oh,
Yeah.
it'd be the ultimate troll. It'd be the ultimate troll. But again, I digress. About all of this. If I got my way, that's what would happen.
Yeah.
But I got to get through a little miniature debt bubble in my life, which I should be okay.
Yeah.
As long as Olivia Miles doesn't screw me, I'll be good.
Yeah.
But this WNBA lesbian sex scandal that's going on is
Mm.
awesome. In case anybody hasn't been following it, it's the most interesting thing in sports that's been out there in the last like 3 months. Super fascinating. Apparently, person A is cheating with person B, and then she's sleeping with 6 other women, and it's bewildering. And it's like a
Wow.
whole chart. Oh, it's absolutely fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Because it was unexpected, and it's so interesting. And like more information is now coming out, and you're just like, how deep does it go? It's like
Yeah.
the Matrix.
Wow.
It's like the Matrix. It's great.
Hmm.
It's the most fascinating thing, and somebody should just make a comic book out of this. A good 12 issues,
Hmm.
a good 12 issues, right? And it's I don't even think you need to license it, and all you have to do is just avoid putting the WNBA's logo on it, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
The thing has written itself. But
Huh.
again, I have nothing else to say about that because it's a developing story and it's just getting better by the hour.
Hmm.
But I do figured we spoke about a lot of stuff. You got a lot of rewards, a lot of floppies, the
Yeah.
graphic novel. You got some stuff, graded books. You got some stuff that you worked on for I think Cthulhu Invades Fairy Tales.
Yeah.
Graded obviously PDFs. If you just want to buy digital.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Do you have original art on this one?
I don't. My artist went to digital, so I might go back. I mean, I'm looking at the last couple of days, maybe doing a couple updates, emails, things like that, and adding some original art from issues 1 through, I guess it would be 10, because 10 was where he went to digital instead of doing the physical pages. So maybe add some original art pages, a cover or two. So some big ticket items to help push this over the line, because it needs a big push. So I think putting those bigger items as add-ons and letting people know, I think that's the way to get some people excited. So that's my plan. When we're done here, that's what I'm going to be doing, is looking through my original art pages that I have and picking maybe one per book, one per issue, to, from the first and second story arcs.
So let me ask this, because this is what I've been saying, and I'll say it at the end of this episode also. I say to all my clients whenever I do a video or anything like that, I say, look, go through my eBay store. If you look what you want to buy something, you could always make me an offer. The worst I'm going to say is no, thank you. And if you're looking for something and I don't have it, shoot me a message on eBay, because I already have it. I just might not be listed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I don't, I move merchandise around, right? And sometimes, I just haven't listed something yet, right?
Yeah.
For whatever reason, right? It's just not listed, right? I just bought something and I haven't listed it up yet. So if you're looking for it, shoot me a message. And if I got it, I'll list it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't have it, I might be able to get it for you. And if for you, sure, you can make a deal on this, because I have access to things that other people don't have just due to business. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's what I've been saying for a while. And if I'm ever to do a Kickstarter, I'm going to say, look, if you're looking for something, shoot me a message, because I'll create your custom tier.
Yeah.
What do I care? So if somebody's looking for a particular cover or page and it's not the one you put up, I mean, you might like it, you might want to keep it for yourself. But if you don't, I mean, there you go, right? Isn't that the whole purpose, though, right? Like, if you have original art of page 7 and somebody just loves from issue 4, right, and they want to buy it and they're willing to spend $300 or $400 or $500 on it, what do you care, even if you're supposed to only release like 2 or 3 on a campaign, if they want that page and you have it, right?
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea. I'll put that in the update. Like, okay, is there a page you want? Is there a page you love from anywhere that you've read? Then let me know. If I have it, I'll put it up.
There's a guy, Richard Card Parks. He does the Ultraman set, and he has masters and original sketches. So let's say I love a sketch of a card. I might be like, hey, man, you got it? He's like, yeah, I still got the master for this. I say, great. How much you want for it? He's like, 100, done. Right? So now I have the master of the card, and I love the card, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't he wants to sell them? And so why wouldn't he be fine with selling it to me if I want it? And just because it's not for sale or not on the Kickstarter or it didn't sell out, that doesn't mean I can't shoot you a private message or I can't back it on the next campaign.
Yeah.
And so he'll just put up a custom tier. He'll say, just tip more and just tip an extra $100 for what you want. He just did that with what's called hot packs, which are special packs that have an extra sketch or 2 in there. So I just tipped an extra $25 and I got an extra 4 of them.
Oh, nice.
But the point is that I wanted those and he has them, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so that's what happens, right? And it makes sense. So like that's my whole position, is that my goal is to service clients the best I can. Regardless of whether it's a Kickstarter, eBay, whatever it is. If somebody wants something out of this interview, great. I mean, I've had people offer to buy interviews off of me, which is its own problem. But I digress there. But the position I'm making is that people have offered to buy a lot of stuff, and you'd be surprised what people want.
Wow.
I had somebody wanted to buy like 20 interviews for their YouTube channel off of my channel, and I'm like, why? A little weird though. A little weird.
Yeah.
Super weird, right? It definitely makes you think for a few minutes. But I figured out why they wanted it. They wanted content, and they wanted to bolster their channel with other content for viewership.
Oh, okay.
So they wanted to buy an interview, not my interview or not being interviewed. They wanted to buy like something already done.
The ones that are already done, and then just put them up and claim them as their own.
Essentially, they wanted the IP behind the interview.
Mm.
So they viewed an interview that has like 2,000 views, and like, I want to buy that thing because if I put it on my channel, it might get 700 or 800 or 900, 300, views a year. But what they were trying to do is just buy 20 views here, 20 there, 20 there, 20 there, 30, and they were with their own content and grow a library.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
and it makes me want to buy people's interviews. I might do it. I'm not opposed to it, but I digress. That's a different conversation for a different day. But we've been speaking for an hour 15, and I definitely want to. It's almost cocktail hour. I am on the East Coast.
Yeah.
It is 30 minutes away from me having a rum and coke in a particular Grimace cup. Which we have to bring back, and I believe we should bring back the Purple Seed as well. And we're not going to say what that's from. We're not going to say what it's from. It's a code. If you're in the club, you understand. Good things happened when Grimace showed up. Is all I'm going to say. I think 2027. I believe we should definitely draft Grimace and put him on our bench. Without a doubt.
Try him in the bullpen.
Make him a DH. Well, whatever works.
Yeah,
you could go catch. I don't really care. We could put him at second base. I'm totally fine.
Anywhere. Pencil him in.
We need a first baseman, so he can sign up there too. You have third covered if you keep over Bichette. Yeah, the outfield's fine. And speaking about outfielders, I do have a $900 AJ Ewing card coming, but to me. So I did pull that card, everybody, in case anybody's watching.
Nice.
It's a base from his first home run.
Oh, okay.
So they cut up the base and they put in the card.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a limited 10, and
nice.
The card isn't even done yet. So they take the base, they cut up a piece of it, they put it in, and there's 10 of those. There's 5 of those, and there's 1 of those.
Okay.
So there's 16 of them in the world. I'm one of these guys that gets stuff like this all the time. So it's an expensive card. And it's not for sale at the moment. So, but if it is for sale, I'm going to be asking like $1,500 for it. Easy, if not more. But I digress. But I figure I'll give you a chance to promote yourself. Since we've been speaking, we didn't get to anything. We probably got you and me both canceled. With all of my theories about comics. But I'm gonna definitely share it out, and hopefully it'll get you some more backers because you need them. But where can people find you, bother you, hit you up, check out what you're doing, check out your other works, all that fun stuff?
All right, so all of my social media is under Finish Line Comics. So if you go to any of those, you can see what's going on, what cons I'm going to be at, things like that. In addition, if you go to finishlinecomics.com, you can go to my web store where you can get all the issues of Immortal Era up to 11, my second series Corruptor, and my one-shot horror story Floaters, all available there on the web store. So if you check that out, you can find those. And then I will be trying to think, the next con I'm going to be at is going to be the Paris, California, not France. I wish. Paris Comic-Con on August 15th. So yeah, follow my socials. You can find out where all my next appearances are going to be. And yeah, the Kickstarter is up right now. The trade or the floppy or both, if you're the kind of person who needs one of each. So yeah, check it out.
So he doesn't want to hang out with Victor Wembanyama is really what this is about. So no, nor would I. But I digress right there. But obviously, I've been saying it for a while, all jokes aside, that you got to back people's Kickstarters, you got to share them out, you got to check out what they're doing. If you want people to make stuff, you got to support it, right? A simple liking somebody's post goes a long way. It goes a long way on Facebook, liking Instagrams, following people on X, Twitter, all that stuff goes a long way. And it does make a difference. Whether you see it or you don't, it does make a difference. Saying hi to people makes a difference. All that helps a lot. So keep that in mind. And then as far as I'm concerned, obviously I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X, Pop Anime Comics on Instagram, Pop Anime Comics on Facebook, Pop Anime Comics on YouTube, Pop Anime Comics on TikTok, on my eBay store, which is right here. Look for Comics and Collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay at Pop Anime Comics Collectibles. And I've been saying for a while, I buy and sell a lot of cards, a lot of comics. So stuff like this is usually in my store. So really cool cards like that. Stuff like this is in my store a lot. I do get cool stuff like this in my store. That's always in there. Stuff like this. I already mentioned. I think showed this one, but if I didn't already, and then comics like this are in my store. So stuff like that always comes in and out. And there's stuff like this that does pop up in my store too, which is a 1 of 5 70 Voltaire. So that stuff is always around in my store. Sorry about that. I don't know who's hitting me up. So stuff like that is always in my store. And sorry. Just so yeah. And then this is the Caitlin Clark that is currently up in my store. So if you're interested in a Caitlin Clark, everybody, this is one of the ones you want. Definitely a cool card, an expensive card. I'm asking $350 for it. But if you offer me $320, $25, I'll probably accept. This is her 40-point 10 assist game, the first one in the WNBA. So super expensive card, and I know me and one other person have 33% of the whole market together. They sold out. They sold out so quickly. They sold out within like 90 seconds. It was crazy. Big cards are a big business is the point. And that's kind of everything that I got going on. So I'm friendly. I don't bite. If you have questions about all this stuff, if you have questions about cards, comics, you just want to hang out and talk wrestling, shoot me a message. That's what I'm doing this Friday. Probably going to get hammered talking about wrestling and how WWE is doing an excellent job. They're doing the best job they've ever done. I'm being facetious in case anybody can't figure that out. It's going to be a blast. Getting drunk watching wrestling and talking about it. I know exactly how it sounds, like going to Suplex City. It's going to be a blast. I promise everybody. I promise. I don't bite, but depending on what you do, you might get an F5. And I'm speaking in codes for a reason. So having said all that, that's pretty much everything I got going on, and I'm going to give you the final word.
All right. So check out all of my work at Finish Line Comics on all the different social medias, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. And if you are able to, check out the campaign for Immortal Era 12 and the graphic novel. Like it, share it, let people know. If it's not for you, it might be for one of your friends, and a share is free, so they're always appreciated. And yeah, check it out. This is halfway point of a series, and I'd love to keep going and know that this part is covered. So it's not like, oh, if this doesn't fund, we won't see it. No, it's already off to the printer. We're going to see this book one way or the other, but this will definitely take the edge off of making this book easier to do. And yeah, find me at cons. I love to talk. So yeah, that's what I have to say. And thank you again for having me.
And I don't think I could have said that any better myself, and that is a wrap.